For the record, it was dark, and I didn't see anything. Just your tits and...
1, 2, 3, funk it.
My darling, I love you, 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 I love you.
Something's Gotta Give is a 2003 movie written and directed by Nancy Meyers. It stars Jack Nicholson and Diane Keaton. Its plot follows Harry Sanborn, a legendary aging bachelor at a beach house with a beautiful woman named Marin, who's young enough to be his daughter, or granddaughter. The plan is to have a wonderful weekend until Marin's mother, the successful playwright Erica Berry, shows up with her friend Zoe. Despite the obvious fact that Erica can't stand Harry, the four decide to all enjoy the weekend at the beach house together. But before Harry and Marin can really enjoy themselves, wink wink, sex, wink wink, Harry has a heart attack. Dr. Mercer, played by Keanu Reeves, insists that Harry is not well enough to travel and should remain under supervision. The only solution? Harry has to stay with Erica at the beach house. Despite their initial disdain for each other, what follows is a love affair that changes both of their lives. I first saw this movie shortly after it came out. Because it was such a big hit, certain channels were having marathons of it as soon as they could get it on TV. And I watched the movie on repeat. I think I should have been too young to appreciate a story like this, but I loved it nonetheless. It's really a character piece, a good look at two people, one more than the other, who needs to change something in their life. And through the ups and the downs of the love story, they do. So now let's grade this thing. First is cinematography. The cinematography is by Michael Ballhaus, who Ballhaus, that's a weird name, who passed away in 2017. Now I feel like a dick. Ballhaus. I can't even say that name. Why would you? Ballhaus was awesome, and he only seemed to be getting better with age. He shot Goodfellas, Bram Stoker's Dracula, Air Force One, Gangs of New York, and The Departed. Here, he goes for a warm and fuzzy feel that complements the romantic comedy perfectly. Everything is always perfectly lit, looks beautiful, and has a soft glow to it. Second is acting. This is one of my favorite performances from Jack Nicholson. His character is technically kind of creepy. He's an old man who only dates women between the ages of 20 and 30. For an actor who always played villains or anti-heroes, it's shocking how charming he is here. He completely removes the creepy aspect and completely makes you believe that he's a Hugh Hefner-esque bachelor. And he's hilarious. Now I've seen this movie so many times that I just chuckle, but when I first saw it, the hospital scene was one of the hardest laughs I ever laughed. The only performance in the movie better than Nicholson's is Diane Keaton's. She was nominated for an Oscar, a Screen Actors Guild Award, and she won the Golden Globe for Best Actress. She deserved it. Part of what sucked me into this movie is how lovable her character is. Even when she's being a tough, uptight prude, you know there's a sweetness behind it, and you're thrilled when Nicholson's character finally gets her to let her guard down. You feel bad for her when she's hurt, and you're happy again when she gets all the good things she deserves. She's a great protagonist. Third is music. I always love the music for romantic comedies. It's almost always sweet, light, and beautiful, like easy listening music. Two composers who really excel at these sweet, lighthearted, jazzy scores are Hans Zimmer and Alan Silvestri. Upon researching this movie, I found that both of them worked on the score. Silvestri wrote music for the movie. Due to creative differences, he left the project. According to Wikipedia, there are pieces of his score that remained in the movie. According to IMDb, his music was unused. So, Hans Zimmer was brought in to write a replacement score. But the cool thing about Hans Zimmer is that his scores aren't always written by him alone. I noticed while reading the end credits, because I'm weird, that there was additional music by 7 other composers. So between the 8 or 9 of them, the score is brief but beautiful. I definitely recommend you check out the one-track musical suite for this movie. As far as I know, that's all that was released, and you can only hear it on YouTube. Next is critics. The Rotten Tomatoes critics consensus reads, though it occasionally stumbles into sitcom territory, Something's Gotta Give is mostly a smart, funny, romantic comedy with sharp performances from Jack Nicholson, Diane Keaton, and Keanu Reeves. 72%. And the audience score is just a little bit behind it with a 69%. If you don't like romantic comedies, then I can see you disliking this movie. But honestly, if you tuned in for a romantic comedy, I don't see how you couldn't like this movie. Finally is story. I think I love the story because of how much conflict they set up. It's never anything too serious that would take away from the happy vibe of the movie. They use a love triangle and ups and downs and romance to keep everything interesting. Another thing that's so great about the story is that they don't make it easy on the two main characters. They go through a serious character arc and struggle to get to the happy ending. Final score, 9.41 out of 10. I'd definitely recommend this to any fans of romantic comedy or fans of the two leads. Currently, you can't stream it anywhere, but if you feel like renting a rom-com, you really can't go wrong with this movie. I'd recommend it to one more group of people, but that's for the spoiler talk. If spoilers aren't for you, thank you so much for listening this far. I hope you enjoyed the review as much as I love listening to movie reviews. And I hope you'll listen to the rest another time. Or now. I mean, the movie came out in 2003. Who cares about spoilers at this point? So, the last group of people I'd recommend it to is anyone going through a big change later in life. Mainly, anyone looking for a new spouse. This happy little movie just may give you the courage to get back in the arena. The theme of the movie is really, it's never too late to find love. And for that reason, you should never count yourself out. After Harry and Erica first have sex, very comically, Erica suddenly starts to cry. Her words, even as a young kid, hit me in the heart. She says, quote, "I really thought I was sort of closed up for business." End quote. Then Harry starts to cry, and in pure sitcom fashion, they relieve the seriousness with comedy. He says, "I mean, I had sex 3 days after a heart attack and I didn't die. That's gotta be some kind of record." After this, despite their age, each pushes themselves to grow. They screw up, they break up, Erica dates another younger man. She writes a hit play based on the romance that just broke her heart. Harry seeks penance for all the women he mistreated. Even Marin. In the end, they end up back together, in love, and happily ever after. It may sound like a cheesy movie, but I don't think so. My fiancé works at a salon inside a nursing home. Throughout the week, they do all the residents' hair. Just the other day, she came home with a story to tell. A couple there roomed together. She says that every time you pass the room, they are sitting side by side in their wheelchairs holding hands. But they didn't start like this. They both entered the nursing home alone, as both their spouses had passed away. They met and fell in love in the nursing home. In a place where you're supposed to finish your life, they started a new one together. Leah said she brought the woman back to her room after her hair appointment. She said, "Marv, I brought your lady back. Isn't she beautiful?" His face lit up and he said, "Boy, is she." So again, it's never too late. And for that reason, you should never count yourself out. To everyone out there, thank you for listening or watching. I hope you enjoyed the review, and be sure to let me know what movie we should talk about next time.